So property management, what does that consist of? Assuming you've already found a well-qualified tenant, and you can hear a lot more about that in detail in my tenant screening video, then what comes next is the property management is from the time the tenant moves in until they move out. Now that I'm sure you have a solid lease in place that protects you from any eventuality that could occur, you may or may not have already collected a security deposit from the tenant, which is something that you'll definitely want to do. That does need to be maintained in an escrow account. And as always, with anything, you need to make sure you're adhering to your local jurisdiction's laws when it comes to the security deposit. Now for the check-in inspection, you want to make sure you give the tenant the option to be present, and you also want to make sure you do this prior to the tenant taking possession so you can document the condition that you're giving it to them in. When doing the inspection, be as thorough as possible. Make sure you're checking the condition of appliances and that they're all in working order, that you have a new air filter in the property, and under sinks, make sure there are no leaks, and then just general pictures throughout the home. This is what you're going to refer to at the end of the lease to make sure that the security deposit is distributed as necessary. For rent collection, you want to determine how you're going to collect rent. So are they going to pay electronically through an automatic credit to your account? Are they going to send you personal checks, certified funds? You want to establish that before the lease signing. Make sure it's apparent that you expect rent to be paid a certain way. You also want to establish it so that it's due on the 1st of each month. Now let's say they move in on the 15th of a month. You want to prorate that rent so that the second month, the full rent is due on the 1st. Once the tenants get settled in, it's going to move on to the day-to-day management. So this is the time they're in the property, for the next year, 2 years, however long it's going to be. Inevitably, they're going to have some issues. So oftentimes at move-in, within the first month or so, they're getting used to the home and they need to familiarize themselves with it. So you may expect an increase in calls from the tenant. Now let's just hope those calls don't come at 2 a.m. When those calls do come in, you need to have a plan in place on how you're going to address them. Are you handy? Are you going to go over there and take care of it yourself? If you're like me and you're not, you need to hire a contractor. Make sure you've checked in advance with that contractor to see a copy of their license and insurance. For liability purposes, you want to make sure they have that on file. And then once they're in there, you need to know how quickly the turnaround is going to be, and it's very important to keep an open line of communication with the tenant. They'll get very frustrated if the work isn't being done in what they deem a timely manner, which, let's be honest, in most cases is immediately. So even if you have to call and say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have an update today, I'll get back to you as soon as I hear something, it's better to let them know what's going on than them just not to hear anything from you at all. Continuing with that open line of communication, not just for repairs, but just in general, check in on them periodically, make sure things are going okay. You can also let them know that you want to pop in every now and again to do an inspection. Just make sure you give them sufficient notice. When it comes to the end of the lease, now let's say you've talked to them, they're on the fence. Now we're 90 days from the end of the lease. You really want to start having a solid conversation about what their intentions are. Now, they don't need to tell you today whether they're going to move out or extend for longer, but you definitely want to get an idea, if they have one, of what they're going to do. Now, at the 60-day mark, you need to let them know that you need an answer, or else you're going to start marketing the home. What happens if you don't get that answer and you don't get an extension signed? They'll just keep dragging it out. Maybe they won't tell you, or they're on the fence, and then all of a sudden it's 10 days before the end of the lease and they let you know, okay, well, we're moving out, and now you've done no marketing to prepare, and that's going to cause an extended vacancy the next time around. So again, keep an open line of communication. Make sure at the 60-day mark you've established what the intentions are. So if they're moving out, you need to begin marketing. If they're staying, make sure you have a lease signed. Let's say instead of moving out, they have decided they'd like to renew the lease for longer. You want to make sure that you have conducted a market analysis and you have an idea of whether you can ask for an increase. Now, it's pretty standard that over time there is a slight bump in the rent. Typical is 3% year over year, but you can look and see what you believe is fair for your property and your location. Also, you want to keep in mind that it may not be in your best interest to increase it too significantly, or else that could drive them out of the property. At the end of the day, while you want to collect more rent, if it's too much for them, then that's going to drive them out. You're going to have another vacancy. You're going to have costs associated with finding a new tenant. So those are things you want to keep in mind. Now it's time that the tenants finally moved out. So they were there for an initial term of 12 months, and then they renewed for another 12 months. Now they purchased the house and they're moving on. So you want to secure the move out inspection. So you want that done after they vacated the property and left it in the condition you expect to receive it in. within, I'd say, 24 to 48 hours from the end of the lease. You want to go through, do a final walkthrough similar to the one you did at move in, and of course, you want to give them the opportunity to be present. It's up to them if they decide to. Now, as you can imagine, with security deposits, this is the #1 cause of legal disputes between tenants and landlords. So you make sure you itemize everything, and as I mentioned previously, make sure you're adhering to all your local jurisdiction's laws. Now that we've gone over the step-by-step property management aspect from move in to move out, it may seem like a lot, and honestly, that's because it is a lot. So if you have somebody that's getting ready to move in, or you're about to start this whole process and you think maybe it's a little overwhelming, maybe you bit off a little bit more than you can chew, then go ahead and click on the blue Get a Free Quote button and let me give you a call today.